I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
This is Fish Jelly.
Yes.
How are you?
Oh, good. How are you?
Okay. There's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to Hawaii tomorrow.
Yes, we are. I'm about to turn 40.
Yeah. Nick's birthday is this coming week. So he accepts gifts on my behalf. So you can send them to me to the P.O. box.
Uh-huh.
Or just Venmo me. I'll give it to him. How do you feel about turning 40?
I mean, aging is inevitable, and I feel like great. I don't know. I like myself more than ever before. How's that?
Well, that's a nice positive answer.
There's nothing we can do about it. We're getting old, and I like knowing more things, and I like caring a little bit less about what the nebulous community around me might think at any given time.
So then we slid downhill. Okay, so neither of us have been to Hawaii.
No, it's still a damn near 6-hour flight, which seems fun. Well, we got a lot of water to go over.
I've never, it's. I mean, I guess it's not odd that I've never been because I've never had the thought to go, but it seems like a very easy trip to make.
Considering
from LA, but yeah, first time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it'll be lovely.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the restaurant section.
Yes, let's.
There's a new Erewhon opening in WeHo. And we've talked about Erewhon, the overpriced Southern California grocery store. Can you guess where the new one's going to be in WeHo?
Is it going to be on Santa Monica Boulevard?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you think of the exact location? You know it.
Where that old porn theater used to be?
No, but close in that it's replacing something or taking the spot of an old place.
Who's that restaurant from that housewife I can't stand?
Oh, what is it? Pump?
Is it taking over that ugly thing?
No, it's a bigger space. It's going where the Sprouts was, across from Trader Joe's.
Oh, damn! I like that Sprouts.
Well, it's been closed for a minute.
Oh well, I mean, I'm rarely in West Hollywood. It's not my favorite place in the city by far. Okay, so a semi-expensive grocery store was replaced by a more expensive one. That makes sense.
Well, Sprouts was cheaper than Whole Foods, don't you think?
Yeah, but it wasn't completely.
I felt like Sprouts was more accessible.
Yeah,
but I wonder why it closed. I do recall going in there and always thinking like, oh, it's kind of very specific stuff in here.
Yeah.
Like we would only get like a small amount of things. I feel like I wouldn't go full grocery shopping there.
No, and at Erewhon, never.
Well, even at Trader Joe's, I don't feel like I can do full grocery shopping. No, I mean, I need real diet soda. I need Dr. Pepper and Diet Coke. Anyway, we need to talk about some candies that we procured last week.
Oh my God.
Okay, let's start with the negative. So Shaquille O'Neal, he has a line of gummy snacks.
Mm-hmm.
There are two kinds. There's like the sour kind and then the regular, and they're called SHAQ-A-LICIOUS XL gummies.
Yeah.
And you bought some. I'm assuming they looked fun to you.
Well, they looked fun. The Shaq big head on a gummy. Yeah. Interesting, scary, titillating.
And probably important to know they were on sale.
Well, they were on sale by the checkout because I wasn't looking for these things. And they were $2.50. And I'm like, well, now's the time to try.
No better time than now. Child, those things were disgusting. Disgusting. And you know what it made me think of? I did watch... Shaquille has a podcast and Marlon Wayans was on it. And that's the one I watched where he said, hey, I have these new gummies. I want you to try them. And Shaquille gave Marlon some of the ones we tried, the regular ones. And now looking back, because Marlon's response was like, it's curious now having tasted them that he was trying to be nice. Like, like wow, these sure are red and big. They're disgusting.
His face is on them and it's creepy.
They're big, like the size of...
They're bigger than my thumb.
Yeah, they're big.
And I don't have small thumbs.
They're bigger than my big toe.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're big. No flavor.
Well, what's funny is the texture, because
And the
there
texture.
were 3 flavors, and the peach flavor were soft. All of the peach flavors in the bag. We didn't finish the bag, but
No, and we rarely don't finish snacks.
I was taught that you never throw away food, so it's actually a hard thing for me to do.
Well,
Well,
speaking of that and Trader Joe's, we bought those like dark chocolate covered watermelon jellies. We threw those away. Those were nasty.
Those were no good.
But anyway, so the peach.
So the peach, like the genetic makeup of the peach might have been different, because presumably everything was the same age in the bag, and everything else was hard except for the peach flavors, which is really.
They were so bad that I would return them. I've never returned anything to a grocery store, but if I had bought them and had the receipt, I would walk back in there and get my $2.50
These
back.
offended my palate.
Then I was looking up like on Amazon, they're for sale, and people are. If you have time and want to read something funny, go on Amazon and look up the SHAQ-A-LICIOUS XL gummies in the review section. Yeah, they're disgusting. 1 out of 10 do not recommend.
They need a new recipe.
Yeah. But something we did discover that I was very excited about is that cheap ass brand Mike and Ike's that come in that box. It's like movie theater candy. I don't think I've ever bought Mike and Ike's. And maybe the only time I've ever eaten them is sometimes they come in that variety pack, like the snack size. And I've never been satisfied. But you picked up the Mike and Ike's Mega Mix Sour box. I don't think I've liked candy that much in a while.
Oh, they were
exceedingly delicious to me. And, they were also in the same bag that you gave me with the SHAQ-A-LICIOUS candies. So by comparison, they were blowing my mind.
Oh, yes. My taste buds were alive.
There are 10 different flavors in there. It was just like a ballet for my palate.
If you put them all in your mouth at once, it's an explosion.
So I'm very excited about those. I'm sure those ship well, so people can send some Mike and Ike's Mega Big Sours to the P.O. box. Lastly, there's a restaurant in West Hollywood called La Boheme. And I was thinking about this because we've talked about French Quarter Market a lot, which was a restaurant in West Hollywood on Santa Monica Boulevard that was kind of a staple, especially for me back in the late 90s when I would come out here like in college. And I went to college in Vegas, and then I would come out here with friends, and we'd always do Sunday brunch at French Quarter Market. So that's like my fondest restaurant memory of that period. But La Boheme was also one of the people who I would always come with. He was kind of a fraudster and like pretended to have money, but he always liked to have dinner like on Saturday night at La Boheme.
Okay.
But back then I didn't have any money. So that to me was like, oh, I can't spend. I mean, what would it have been in 1997? It might have been like, $20. Well, I couldn't even order alcohol back then, so I don't know. But I would always wait. So like he and his other friends would go eat there, and I would just go get like, a hamburger somewhere and wait around for them to be done. So I always had that impression in my mind. But since we moved back to LA, when we used to live not too far from La Boheme, so we went a few times, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, during the pandemic as well.
And then during the pandemic, because they made a huge outdoor area. So we went a few times. And then we went last week, which was, it's okay.
Yeah.
I think for people visiting, they have an all-night happy hour. It's from 5 to 10.
Oh, that looked like there were many people taking part in that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's cute for drinks, but the food...
Okay, so they're $28 spaghetti. I did like that spaghetti.
That sauce was everything.
That sauce was good. They didn't give us bread to sop it up
not
with, though.
Not a piece of bread to sop up any of that sauce.
So I might have drank a little bit of sauce like soup, but...
It was very good.
It was very good.
It was creamy and thick, and then it was a cream-based sauce, but then it came with meatballs that had a red sauce.
I didn't know that I needed the meatballs.
No, I didn't either. But I think when the flavor of the meaty red with the creamy sauce, it was very good.
It was good. It was not worth $28, however, for that helping.
I don't think it would have been worth $18.
I think $15 would have been a nice price. Yep.
But you also ordered.
Oh God! So off the happy hour menu, I ordered it because one, I was flustered and not quite sure what we were doing, but my eyes landed on this item that I couldn't comprehend what I was reading. So I was more curious about what it would look like. And it was some kind of chicken Dijon bullshit. So it was basically a sliced up chicken breast with some kind of Dijon sauce atop a bed of shoestring fries.
Well, I was confused too because when you ordered it, I had also seen it on the menu and I thought, oh, it's just going to be like some cut up chicken breast in like a gravy. But then the guy, our server, do you remember his name?
Corbin or
Corbin. Yeah, he looked like that would have been his name. He's like, okay, and you'll get the fries. And I'm like, wait, what fries? The presentation's very odd.
I was like, but even reading on the menu, I'm like, what
you know what it kind of felt like? Poutine.
Yes, it felt like a
dry poutine,
a perverted poutine,
because all the gravy's on the bottom and then the shoestring fries are on top. They were flavorful, and then the chicken's kind of like off to the side.
Well, shoestring fries, I always feel like I have to eat like a salad
with a fork. Yeah, I don't like shoestring fries, but
that was a very curious thing for me. I don't know how satisfying it was ultimately, but
I thought it was flavorful.
It was. I don't know that I need it again.
Yeah, and then oh my gosh, then I ordered like chicken sliders, and out came, and they should be embarrassed.
Big mistake. Big mistake.
Those chicken sliders, the meat, it was what are the chicken McNuggets for kids? Dino,
yeah.
Is that what they're called?
Mm-hmm.
I swear that they took a Dino chicken McNugget and put it on top of the tiniest little bun you've ever seen.
It was about that quality.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And there were two of them.
And they weren't warm. That was odd.
But I had two beverages that I really like some sort of like,
you had a cantaloupe martini.
That's right. I had a cantaloupe martini and a spicy margarita, and I did like those. And you had a lychee
martini.
Did you like that?
Yeah, we have a friend that really likes those for some reason. And yeah, I mean, I really don't like drinking hard liquor.
My sister also really likes lychee.
Yeah, I stick to beer and wine usually because I like to keep it together. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, La Boheme. I just think it's funny how like 20 plus years ago, my impression of it was so different than it is today. But it is the interior is very nice.
It is nice.
I just think it's over like to go there to sit down for a proper dinner.
Oh no.
I think it feels a little too spendy for that. But I mean for what it is.
Mm-hmm. And then last night we took my family's in town visiting. We returned to our favorite pizza place, Masa.
Mm-hmm. Where the service was very nice.
Yes, always yum, yum, yum.
Yes.
I think I noticed on their website, because I tried to make a reservation, which I normally never do there. Was it the Try Guys have now discovered Masa and are champions of it?
Oh, no. So now I'll never be able to get a seat.
No, it was pretty. I think if you go before a dinner rush,
you have to go odd hours.
You have to go by 6.
But that's fine because it takes an hour to get the deep dish.
Because by the time we left, there was a huge line.
Yeah. So, I mean, we usually try to go like 5.
Yeah. Or during the week. And they're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. But
anyhow.
Ava Mendes likes them too.
Oh.
She's retired and eats masa pizza.
Films released we didn't cover. Ghost Cat. Wait.
Well,
Ghost Cat on Zoo.
Side note, we had no new review coverage this week.
We had a review drop for a movie called Regarding Us,
but that didn't release the app.
It hasn't, no.
Because for some reason, Amazon MGM, they didn't send me any press screening info to the one major release this week, which was Red One. And when I finally got a hold of a publicist, they're like, just let us know what theater you want and we'll get you passes. I'm like, no.
You know, since I mentioned Regarding Us, the director of that film messaged us saying thank you for the review, but wanted me to let people know that Regarding Us will be playing for a week, December 6th through the 12th in New York City, with much better sound than what we saw, apparently. Although I don't recall it not sounding good.
Well, it was at the Chinese, which is not the best.
They don't have the best
sound, periods, but whatever.
And it will also be available to pre-order on Apple TV and iTunes in December 2, with the wider streaming release on January 28th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So congratulations to them.
Yes. But anyway.
Ghost Cat on Zoo.
Well, since I was already bringing up Red One, I would watch it because it's a Jake Kasdan film, and he, of course, Lawrence's son, but did one of Sigourney's best comedic director for one of her best comedic roles in the TV set, by the way. But I'm really not interested in Red One. Had it been made available to me, we probably would have reviewed it. Anyway, as you have said twice now, Ghost Cat Anzu. I saw this in Cannes. It's a very bizarre animated film about this, as the title says, this ghost cat named Anzu who helps this motherless little girl and a father who's struggling to pay for things. It's very odd, but kind of funny. It's directed by Yoko Kuno and Nobuhiro Yamashita. It was played in the director's fortnight at Cannes, and it was on one of the last days I was at the festival. And it was one of those things that I just had time to see it in the morning. And I don't regret doing it. So if you like bizarre animated films, you should see this.
All We Imagine Is Light.
Now, this is the one I'm bummed we didn't ever get around to. But this won second place prize at Cannes this year. Payal Kapadia, her second film. And it's about, it's set in Mumbai, and it's about a nurse whose husband she hasn't seen in years and is living elsewhere. And he sends her this odd gift. I think it's a rice cooker, and it kind of is one small dramatic catalyst in this relationship he's developing with a younger roommate who's also working in the same hospital. And the younger roommate is also having kind of relationship issues and trying to actually just have privacy with her boyfriend. But it's I think it's a loving tribute to Mumbai and women. And I don't know, it's a kind of a friendship film. It's a travelogue. I think I highly recommend it. If this is playing in a theater near you, you should see it.
Bogart, Life Comes in Flashes.
This is one of three major-ish documentaries that were also released this week, and clearly this one is about Humphrey Bogart, directed by Catherine Ferguson. And I am a Bogart fan, so this is something I probably should catch up on.
Breakup Season.
I wasn't even going to bring up this film in this section because clearly I don't bring up everything that gets released that we didn't cover. But it's directed by somebody named H. Nelson Tracy. And I only bring it up because you are kind of a fan of Brooke Hogan, who is in it.
Listen, Brooke Hogan has a song called Move from 2022 that I think is really good. And I listen to it all the time.
You played it. There was one day you were trying to quiz me. You're like, who's singing this?
I like to quiz people on...
People. I get the brunt of that, but yeah.
This song, and then also there's a remix of a Paris Hilton song that now I'm forgetting the name of. I have to look that up.
Her big song, The Stars, blah, blah, blah.
It's from the same album.
Oh, yeah, that classic.
Oh, my God. Now I'm going to... Gosh darn it.
But you like were playing me for like 10 minutes of that goddamn Brooke Hogan song. And I'm like, I have no idea who this is. And you were trying to give me hints. I'm like, I hadn't known of her existence.
And I'm like, her daddy likes to use the N-word. Oh, Brooke Hogan. The Paris Hilton song I was thinking of is Turn It Up, the Paul Oakenfold remix.
I actually like a few Paul Oakenfold remixes from that period of music. But yes. Brooke. Anyway, so she's a supporting role in a movie that I don't know that anyone's checked.
Listen, I don't like her song enough to watch this movie.
No, well, clearly.
Anyway, Elton John, Never Too Late.
New Elton John documentary, apparently with like cobbled together with oodles of hours of unseen footage. So I guess this sounds like something for the super fans. Do you like Elton John? Rosemary, do you recycle?
I dated someone who was like a super duper Elton John fan.
Oh.
So I have like at the time Elton John's entire catalog on my iPod.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
And saw him in concert twice.
Okay.
So after all that, I still don't know that I could say I'm an Elton John fan.
See, I think he's very talented.
I can think of 3 songs that I like.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have one.
Benny
and the Jets.
And Alligator Rock.
Crocodile Rock.
And then that one song that Mary J. Blige, she has a song with him.
God, Mary just does pairings with everybody, doesn't she?
Bono, everybody.
Sam Smith. No, my enduring favorite Elton John song is Crocodile Rock. And
did I say Alligator Rock?
Yes, you did.
Is that something else?
I don't know. Is it?
Anyway, your
Is
favorites?
it Lacoste related? Crocodile Rock's my enduring favorite, and the only song I've ever had on any playlist by him. And almost anytime anything comes up from him, I switch the I change the channel, I switch the station. That's a Madonna reference in Hollywood, but one of his nemesis for a period. Yeah, I have nothing against him whatsoever, and I think he's a trailblazer and very talented. But I was never really into his catalog, and maybe I'm just ignorant. I don't know.
Noted. Lastly, The World According to Ali Willis.
This I would have rather seen this week, directed by Alexis Sprake. It's about a singer-songwriter who's in the title, and apparently she had a very interesting life, is all I can tell from the description. But I'm sure I'll get a screener for this because award season is coming up and we're about to be voting on things soon. So maybe I'll watch it then.
Moving on our Patreon, we've recently reviewed Cry Baby and the film Mads.
Mm-hmm.
There are no entries in the obituary section, so that's nice.
No one notified us of death.
And then the secret film this week was my choice.
Did you skip over Projects of Interest?
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I had one on there.
Projects of Interest. Dreams.
Yeah, Michel Franco, who you've seen several of his films, including New Order, and we reviewed Memory. I think we reviewed New Order as well, because that was 2020 release. Anyway, he's reunited with Jessica Chastain for a film called Dreams, and it's about Mexican ballet dancer played by Isaac Hernandez, who flees from home to join his lady love. I'm presuming she's in LA or somewhere in California, and kind of disrupts her life significantly, and some choices have to be made. So if it's a Michel Franco film, I'm sure it'll be something dark and grueling. So I can't wait.
Dark and grueling, like me.
Yes. The glue that's held us together, dark and grueling. We're actually starting an Edgar Allan Poe poem there, and a midnight dark and dreary, something dark and grueling. Anyway.
Okay, the secret film this week was my choice, and I took inspiration from your father and selected the 1992 American Western film Unforgiven.
Should we add that this was probably very insistent?
Well, I didn't honestly have a thought because I knew other people would have to watch it with me, so I was trying to be a little more diplomatic with my selection, but it had boiled down to either Unforgiven or Tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like everyone agreed Unforgiven is the better movie.
Which is strange because my mother's a Kurt Russell fanatic.
So we watched Unforgiven. It's directed by a Clint Eastwood.
Who's that?
I do know who Clint Eastwood was. Although every time I think
he's still alive?
Oh, well, every time I think of him, I think of the Paul Newman dressing. And I don't know why.
Well, they're both kind of craggy looking men. Yeah.
But I had never, I don't know that I'd heard of this film.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, this was I haven't watched it since I was a kid. And there are things that transpired in this movie that were influential, I think, on some things that I wrote around that age too.
What is the premise? Retired Old West gunslinger Will Money reluctantly takes on one last job to avenge an injustice with the help of his old partner and a newer outlaw known simply as the Schofield Kid. This movie is not what I thought it would be at all. Because I thought it was going to be a dry, gritty Western.
You know, the thing is about most Westerns, a good Western's usually not dry.
Well, I guess I don't know them that well because I thought this movie, it's kind of wild, and you know, it wouldn't take much retooling to make it a comedy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty entertained.
And yeah, of course it is a Western, but actually it feels more prominent in my mind as a revenge drama, and actually strangely like a women's issues film.
Well, and it's almost like a double revenge story, double storm.
It is a double storm. Yes, Dreamcatcher.
Okay, so I'm going to try to tell the basic story. It's 1880 in Wyoming, and Clint Eastwood plays this widower. At the time of filming, he was what, 62?
He's probably 61. Yeah.
61. And he looks, I mean, he looks like Clint Eastwood. He looks good.
For him, well, especially considering two of his co-stars were born the same year as him, Gene Hackman and Richard Harris. And
well, Richard Harris looks like hell.
Poor Richard. I don't know what he would.
Gene is Gene-in.
Gene is Gene-in, yeah.
Okay, so 61-year-old Clint Eastwood out here in Wyoming is a widower taking care of his two small children. They look like maybe they're like 8 and 6.
They are definitely prepubescent.
And one day he gets a gentleman caller, the Schofield kid, who's a handsome little young thing.
Played by James Woolvett. And how Mr. Woolvett spells his first name is annoying to me.
Oh, how does he spell it?
Jaimz.
Well, that's his mama, right?
I don't know.
Or unless he changed his name.
The way these people...
Oh, no, that is not his born name. So he changed it to that. Okay, for acting.
That's some Topher Grace shit. Go away.
Anyway, the Schofield kid shows up and is like, hey, girl, I know you're not in the game anymore, but there's a bounty out for these two guys who mutilated a whore. It's $1,000. You interested? And for reference, the equivalent of $1,000 in 1880 is $31,000 today. So that's a lot of money.
Sign me up.
And Clint says, yeah, sign me up. So step one, he says goodbye to his kids and says, you take care of yourself. He said,
kill a chicken or two if you need to and keep them fever hogs separate from the others. Damn.
And these two little kids are just they almost look at him like this isn't the first time he hasn't taken good care of them, maybe.
Well, and then he struggles to get on his horse.
And then this is why I realized, like, oh, this is not the kind of movie I thought it would be, because Clint, Mr. Money, like you said, this fool can't even mount a horse. He falls off like twice. And the way he's explaining it to his kids is like...
And the kids are just kind of looking at him and he's like, I'm being punished. It's like a karmic bullet because I used to be a real bad man that abused animals and women and children. And
so I think the most interesting part of the story for me is this character of Mr. Money, because, yeah, he's painted by himself, by the Schofield kid, as being this like notorious, like violent, like indiscriminate killer. But then you see Clint Eastwood, this older gentleman who can't even mount a horse. And then as we see him first starting to shoot a gun, he can't even aim the damn thing. He's not menacing in any way. It's mind blowing. But of course that changes in the final act of the film. But anyway, so once Clint is able to mount that horse, he makes his way to his best friend's house, played by Morgan Freeman. And he's like, hey, girl, I know you're out the game too, but do you want in on this $1,000? And at first, Morgan's like, no, I have a family too. I gave this shit up. And I'm not sure what made him change his mind, but at the last minute, he goes, okay, I'll go.
Well, because Clint's going to go on his own.
Like, I guess he's worried about his friend.
Yeah.
So, and Morgan and Clint turn out to be very good friends. So they go. And as they're riding along, making their way to the area where these two guys are, someone starts shooting at them, and it's the Schofield kid. So at first you're like, this doesn't make any damn sense, until you realize that the Schofield kid is like legally blind. So he doesn't know who he's shooting at. But to de-escalate the situation, Clint says, well, why don't you come along with us and we'll give you a third of the share. And he reluctantly comes along. He is a handful and kind of annoying.
Yes, very.
Okay, so they keep calling her a whore. The whore who was mutilated, I think it's funny because, well, the act of it is not funny, but how they're describing it's funny, because it's like the telephone game. They're like, oh my God, the way some people tell it's like she had her face ripped off and her titties hacked off and she was gutted. But really what happened was she was seeing a John. And when he pulled out his penis and she saw how small it was, she giggled a little bit. He gets mad and he like cuts her face like 5-6 times.
It's traumatic.
It is, but the result, like when we see it healed after a season, I mean, she doesn't look that bad. But
well, the way they're acting, like, cover your face. No one wants to be in the whorehouse with you looking like that.
So the man who owns the whorehouse is pissed.
Anthony James.
Because he's like, you cost me money. Like I basically trafficked this woman and, I invested in her and now I'm not gonna be able to make my money back. But The madam of the whorehouse is played by Frances Fisher.
Who was dating Eastwood at the time, yeah.
And I really liked her character.
Yeah, Strawberry Alice, she's great.
Because she's about her girls. And she's mad because Gene Hackman, the sheriff of this town, he's not even trying to punish these guys who, and when we say guys, it's kind of unfair because the one who assaulted her came along with another guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the other guy didn't do anything to the whore.
No. The sex worker?
Well, they're not calling her as that.
I know, but it just seems so jarring.
It does. I don't like saying it. But anyway,
the original title of the project in the 70s when it was conceived, I think, was The Cut Whore Killings or something.
Ooh, that would have got my attention more than the Unforgiven. Okay. So Gene Hackman doesn't really want to punish the two guys really, because at first he's like, well, I'll give him a few lashes. And Francis is going crazy. Like, he destroyed my girl and you go give him a few lashes. And then, but then the owner, who plays the owner?
Anthony James, Skinny Dubois.
When he talks about his money being messed up, Gene goes, okay, well, fine. How about this? You two guys, how many horses do you own? Okay, well, next spring, y'all gonna come back and give me like 7 horses total. So that's the punishment. And Frances is not happy with that at all. So the next day or whatever, she's telling the girls, how much money y'all got? And she between all the sex workers.
And I think there's only 5 girls.
She's able to collect $1,000.
Yeah.
So these girls sticking together.
Mm-hmm.
And she puts out a bounty for these 2 men. But it kind of backfires because the owner of the brothel finds out they did this, and he's concerned because he doesn't believe that they have $1,000. So he's like, you crazy bitches, if the people come to collect their money and you don't have it, they're going to tear my shit up.
Mm-hmm.
So he's panicking because they're acting like, well, we don't have it. We just wanted to do something. So what ends up happening is Gene Hackman as the sheriff is basically like, any strangers who roll up to this town with guns, we're gonna get their asses out of here. And so the first unfortunate soul to show up is English Bob.
Is he an unfortunate soul?
No, because he has a reputation of shooting.
Oh, and he's
like for sport, doesn't he shoot like, or they say something crazy like he works over here shooting Chinamen or something. Yeah, it's something crazy.
Oh, he's a dink.
So he gets what's coming to him.
Played by the great Richard Harris.
Richard Harris as English Bob shows up with his biographer,
Saul Rubinek. Yep. Mr. Beauchamp.
So he has this man following him around writing his life story. And Gene Hackman gets English Bob all the way together. He whoops his ass, throws his ass in jail. And then when Gene Hackman finds out that he's having a book written about him, Gene Hackman reads the book, which is funny because it's called
The Duke of Death. The
Duke of Death, but Gene Hackman keeps pronouncing Duke Duck. So I think a fun title for the movie would also be The Duck of Death. But
and they keep trying to correct him. And then, Gene Hackman is great in this because he starts to get, especially after he lashes out and beats Richard Harris, but he becomes very sinister. He's like, well, I said duck. I calls it duck.
Yeah, he's very good at playing a nasty man.
Yeah.
But he ends up embarrassing English Bob and sending him on his way, but he keeps the biographer because it seems like he wants the biographer to write his life story.
Well, because he sets the record straight. The Duck of Death is filled with lies.
Yes, I forgot to say that he's the English Bob has embellished his story, and
Gene Hackman's like, I was there the night he killed so and so.
He's like, the chapter 12. Oh, I was there, and none of this happened. In fact, the man who, there's a guy called like Two Gun Charlie or something.
And he actually only had one gun.
The reason they call him Two Gun Charlie is because his penis was longer than the shaft of a gun. And English Bob did kill him, but it was because he was drunk and didn't know any better. And Two Gun Charlie had blown off his own hand. So basically he killed an unarmed man. So now that English Bob is like, what do you call it when you've been embarrassed? Shamed. He gets sent off. Okay, so now the 3 guys show up. Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman, and the Schofield kid. And they go to the whorehouse. And it's important to know that Clint Eastwood's character is sober. And it seems like it's so interesting because, we're told he was a badass killer, but he doesn't seem like one. But then I started to get the sense that he became sober. He's trying to raise his family, be a good guy, and he really has left that part of himself behind. So when they show up at the whorehouse, Clint had caught the fever because they were, having to sleep outside and it was raining. But the other two guys go upstairs to visit the prostitutes who have the bounty. And basically they're asking for advances. Mm-hmm. And in this instance, advance means free sex.
Freebies. Mm-hmm.
But then Gene Hackman shows up, beats up Clint Eastwood, throws his ass in jail, and the two guys get away. But they're able to, because Clint's able to leave, and then he reunites with his two buddies, and they kill one of the guys, mm-hmm. the partner of the man who cut up the lady.
Mm-hmm.
And then Morgan Freeman gets captured by Gene Hackman.
Well, because how that plays out is Morgan's supposed to be such a great shot, and they compromise the guy they're looking for. His horse falls on him and he has a broken leg. So it sets up this tense scene where he's about to crawl behind a rock, and they have moments to shoot him, and Morgan flubs it. Because he also has lost his taste for killing.
Yeah, so he can't bring himself to kill this, man.
Yeah.
So Clint has to kill the man, and the Schofield kid can't do it because he's blind.
He can't see.
But so after they kill that guy, Morgan Freeman gets caught up by Gene Hackman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in the interim, while Gene Hackman's like torturing Morgan Freeman, Clint Eastwood and the Schofield kid find the real guy,
Quick Mike,
the one who mutilated the prostitute,
who was played by Anna Thompson, née Levine, playing Delilah.
And the Schofield kid is about it because he goes, listen, just point to me the direction he's in and I'll walk up to him and kill his ass. And sure enough, that man goes into the outhouse and the Schofield kid walks over to the outhouse, opens the door and shoots and kills that man.
Yeah.
So they're able to get away. So the lady who was cut up, what's her name again?
Delilah.
She catches up to Clint Eastwood and the Schofield kid with their bounty because now word has gotten out that both men are dead. So she drops the bag with $1,000.
No, it's not. Delilah's not the one that drops off the bag.
Who drops it off?
It's one of the other girls.
Oh, I'm sorry. One of the other ladies drops off the money. And then Clint is telling the Schofield kid, okay, well, let's split it up into 3 parts. And she's like, 3 parts? Yeah, we got to give Morgan his cut. And she's like, girl, Morgan is dead. Gene Hackman beat him to death, literally.
His body's set outside the Geary's, the name of the whorehouse.
And this is when the movie got extra good because Clint, who, remind you, is sober, when he hears his best friend has been beaten to death, he grabs that bottle of brown liquor from the Schofield kid, takes like 3 hits. He tells the Schofield kid to basically beat it,
mm-hmm.
Take this money, take your portion and Morgan's portion, go back home, make sure his family gets his portion. I'm going to go kill... What is Gene Hackman's character's name? Little Willie?
Little Bill Daggett.
Little Willie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a movie about Little Willies. Yep.
Yeah. Clint Eastwood says, I'm going to go kill Little Willie. And that scene is so good because it's raining.
Mm-hmm.
It's dark. And Clint busts into that brothel. And it's almost magical, like something possessed him because all these men are in there when he confronts Gene Hackman. And he says straight up, I'm going to kill you for killing my friend. And I'm going to kill the owner of this establishment for having my friend. Because they have Morgan Freeman propped up
in a coffin
in front of the whorehouse with a big ass sign that says this is what happens to assassins around here.
And every word is spelled right. Shocking.
Miraculously. Well, I couldn't say it correctly at first. But yeah, Clint kills the owner.
Well, Skinny Dubois is like, I'm not armed. And he goes, well, you should have been armed. You decided to decorate your saloon with the body of my best friend.
He kills the owner. He kills Gene Hackman in a really good scene because he shoots him and then he kills everyone else almost like with magic. It's like unbelievable because he couldn't shoot. For the entire movie, this man couldn't shoot a can of... there's a scene where we see him trying to shoot like a can, and he can't do it, but somehow he kills all these men. And then Gene Hackman isn't fully dead, and the final shot is Clint Eastwood. The final gunshot is him at point blank range, killing him. And then he walks out of the saloon, And he tells these people that if y'all don't give my friend a proper burial and you don't leave these whores alone, I'm going to come back here and kill the rest of you. And then the final shot is him back at home with his kids.
Well, from a distance.
And it's a beautiful shot.
And it's bookended with what feels like passages from a novel that are about the dead wife's corpse.
Yeah.
Because his mother-in-law ostensibly comes to see her daughter's gravesite. And I think the final passage is something about like, but nowhere was it stated why her daughter had married such a terrible person.
Oh.
Because he took off with the kids to, I think they say California. But yeah, really very well done.
It is very well done. And I don't know Clint Eastwood's filmography as an actor or a director really that well, but I'm assuming this role that he wrote for himself, or not wrote, he didn't write it, but that
David Webb Peoples wrote the script.
Yeah. This role that he assumed, to me, it seemed like maybe he was paying homage to some of his earlier roles.
Oh yeah, well, the reason Clint became famous was because of spaghetti westerns. It was Sergio Leone. It was the Man with No Name trilogy.
God, he has the perfect face and demeanor because he just looks so stern and sour and
deflated, kind of, yeah. Dehydrated.
I'm just going to go through my notes. The way they're talking about the cut up whore, like she ain't got no face left. I mean, I really thought we were going to walk into an Ed Gein situation. And then when you see her, it's like she just need a little Mederma for 2 months and she would have been fine.
She would have been okay.
Get her some vitamin E and she would have been fine. So I thought that was funny. Okay.
But Anna Thompson always was so good at playing such fragile people. And you know what's funny is you watched at least the first half of True Romance with me the other night. Okay. And she's the one, I think she's playing a sex worker in that too, where she's the one talking to Christian Slater about having sex with Elvis.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's her, which was a year after this.
So when the two bad guys, the ones who have the bounty against them, come back in the spring to pay their fine, which is the 7 horses, the other guy who didn't do anything, so the main guy had to give 5 horses and his partner had to give 2 horses. Mm-hmm. But he comes with 3 and he's trying to offer his 3rd horse to the woman whose face got cut up, which I thought was really nice because he didn't do anything.
Yeah,
he felt bad.
That's Davey, played by Rob Campbell.
But those ladies were so mad. They were like, "We don't want your damn horse," and they were throwing rocks
pony.
At them.
Get that pony out of here.
They were really, really mad. Mm-hmm. Okay, Clint Eastwood's dead wife. Her name was Claudia Feathers Money. And then we see that she died at the age of 29.
Yeah.
What was the age difference between?
Significant.
Because if her kids are like under the age of 8, then that means that there was a significant age gap. If Clint's supposed to be a 60-year-old man.
So Clint was 50 and she was 20, if that.
I really liked the Schofield kid because he was like a mangy little thing who was just angry. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he can't see was so funny to me. Again, I thought this could have been a comedy between Clint and Morgan being scared to be killers, but going to try to be assassins. And then this blind little boy. Well, he's not little. What is he, like 20?
Yeah, for sure.
This movie really is about fragile male egos.
That's our almost all Westerns, really.
Like, Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Even the ones that aren't trying to be, that's how they play.
I thought the biographer was an interesting character. It's almost like he was aroused by these like men who are like violent and like authoritative, maybe.
Well, yes, because it's something he couldn't be.
Because he can't be.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen Saul Rubinek in person.
Where? At Ralph's?
At the Sunset 5. We were in an elevator with him.
Oh.
Recently.
Oh, recently?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I don't remember anything.
Yeah, I know.
So Gene Hackman makes the biographer his, like, I wrote down, is he his houseboy now? Because at one point he's like helping him build his house. It was a weird vibe to me.
Gene Hackman in that house.
Why did I write down this movie could have also been called Little Willie's Worm Dreams?
Because Clint keeps having dreams about somebody he killed
And the
worms in the
worms coming out of
corpse.
their skin. Yeah.
Little Willie's worm dreams. Yep.
When Clint tells the Schofield kid to like go with the money and give some to Morgan's family, he tells him, "You steer clear of folks you see, okay?"
I'm like, well, he's not going to
Which
see
made me
anything.
think of, you take a shower every day, okay? Oh my God. They had Morgan propped up in that casket. It reminded me of Tales from the Hood.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everyone in this movie is a terrible shot.
Yeah.
Everyone. It's comical.
Yeah.
Because after the Schofield kid kills the guy in the outhouse, all the men who were inside the house, like I think they're playing cards, all of them come out with guns and they're all shooting at pretty close range at Clint and the Schofield kid riding off on horseback, and not a single person gets hit.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
How is this possible? But overall, I was surprised, and I think that was a big part of why it was so enjoyable. But even without that, I think it's a touching story. The friendship between Clint and Morgan,
Well, especially because it seems so unexpected with Clint Eastwood.
and why are you saying? Because he's known for what?
Well, I don't think he's racist. Although, if you see Gran Torino, you might think differently. But his out of a very lengthy filmography, doesn't have a ton of films that feature Black people on equal footing with himself.
No. Well, I found their friendship touching. I really thought that the character Frances Fisher played, it was kind of emotional to see how hard she was fighting for her girls,
and just disrespected,
and just constantly constantly disrespected.
So I mean, I don't think that it is like a prototype of like a feminist Western, but this certainly is a revisionist Western, and it earned a lot of comparisons to what apparently a lot of the subtexts on purpose are making allusions to Homer's The Iliad.
Oh,
so I think it's a very well done film, and there's a lot that can be unpacked.
Well, what would you give Unforgiven?
I would give it 4.5. I think it's very well done. It's one of Clint Eastwood's best films. I think I'm kind of critical of some of his stuff. I like it better than his other Best Picture winner, $1 Million Baby, for which Morgan Freeman finally won a well-deserved Oscar for that film. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched it in years and years and years, and I still found it very well done. I have to add too that in 2013 there was a Japanese remake of this starring Ken Watanabe that I have not seen. But yeah,
wait,
you?
So are you saying this is your favorite Clint Eastwood movie?
You know what? I'd have to think a little bit more about that, because I really like his earlier Westerns are excellent. Outlaw Josie Wales, Pale Rider, that he himself directed. And I'm actually a fan of his. It's kind of a anomaly in his filmography, as his debut was Play Misty for Me.
Oh, I think Unforgiven is excellent. I would give it 4 out of 5. Well, we have some preparation to do,
yes,
before we leave tomorrow. And then there are a couple of reviews dropping next week, I believe.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Gladiator 2
and Wicked. Yeah, basically the two major releases.
That I think there was Barbenheimer. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, this is the closest we get.
And now people are calling this Glickid, I think.
Glickid.
I don't know. Glickid.
I mean, you can see both. I don't know.
Yeah, you can see both. I mean, unless you're having financial issues. And then
get them matinee prices. Don't buy the popcorn and you're fine.
Yeah. Or, just buy one ticket first showing and then just stay for both.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done that, but I'm assuming they don't. I've never seen anyone check anyone's tickets. But once you're in, you're in.
Yeah, and then the day after we get back from Hawaii, you'll get to see Queer.
Oh yeah,
and I think you agreed to review that documentary, Ernest Cole.
Ooh, wait a minute, what is that? Ernest Cole?
Yeah, you agreed.
Who's that? I don't know who.
It's Raoul Peck's new documentary.
Oh, about the black photographer.
Yes.
Yes, that did look interesting.
And then
to me.
I'm not sure if you were gonna do Maria.
Well, which festival did you see that in?
I saw that in Venice.
So it's part of our Venice best and worst video. So I remember you talking about it, and I know that you didn't like it.
I did not.
So then,
but actually, I received several messages with people hoping that we'd review it that felt the same way as I did.
oh well, then
we should cover that. I mean, it's Pablo Lorraine and Angelina.
Am I going to have fun?
Yeah, I think you'll have fun. Yeah.
What do you know about my fun? Okay. Well,
God, nasty. Just nasty.
Well, I think that's all we have. Anything else?
No.
Ta-ta.